Hello everyone. Welcome to another cool Kikars review. Tis the season for getting into the reason for Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, this time we're looking at the good old X-Plus Deforeal Shin Godzilla Frozen version. Ho ho! I'm telling you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for this figure. Who hasn't been waiting this long for something like this to happen? But of course, on the downside, I'm sure Gojira, we bow our heads to you, for this formation was only a one-time shot. It's sad, it's true, but with life goes on. Now, taking a look at this Deforeal vinyl from our friends at X-Plus, I am exceptionally overwhelmed with excitement, because finally someone has done something that has not been done on many of the other figures to the extent of attention to detail regarding his tailor side, and I'm pointing up to it right there. Now, in the movie, in case you haven't seen it by now, we know that poor old Shin Godzilla was a mutation coming from one of a doctor's experiments looking at something down in the deep pits of the ocean, and just the dude died, and then his notes were found. Well, this was the result of it. Some people theorize that's the guy. He emerged with some form of mutation, and he became that in itself, which is this incarnation of Gojira, a resurrection of him. Okay, now I've already, if you notice, he's a little tail heavy, so back and forth, he's not going to plop over, but he's got that little bit of a swinging motion. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still going to enjoy your product. Starting with his noggin. I love it. You know, I like to look at their pearly whites, you know, and this was probably the perfect side to be looking at if you want to review, because you can come right down to his eyes. Let's do a little bit of this smart focus. Bam! It is incredible, because look at those pearly whites. Excellent attention to detail, the way they're just almost like a shark's teeth or a piranha. And for the Deforeal series, this is exactly what you get. There's nothing wrong with the figure. It's supposed to look like this, like a deformed reality, and you love it, almost like a bizarro world. And if you look into his mouth, we're going to get even closer with the super zoom there, and it's incredible. Like it is as if there was some sort of a crustacean, like a whale's. Inside of a whale's mouth there. It's just incredible. There's just layers upon layers, even a shark's mouth, okay? Because in a whale, they're going to be eating plankton. But on this figure here, it's more like a shark, where he could be emitting layers upon layers of teeth, and it continues to come out. And of course, he is frozen from the inside out, and you can tell he looks almost like a magma that in itself was also frozen. If you're looking at the jawline, interesting. Look at that. Look at the attention to detail there, where the gum line coming in on the muscle, the sinew. I love to say sinew because it just gives even more attention to the fact that X-Plus artisans are doing every bit that they can to show you he wasn't just frozen and encased in a piece of junk. No, this was everything that just coagulated over his carcass there, making him exactly what was into the mode of what he is. It's a perfect statue. He's in perfect hibernation, if you think about it. Even though Toho has told us it was a one-time shot, but then he must be an incredible monument downtown Tokyo by now. I can imagine being able to go and tour it. They should make a tourist attraction of it, if you think about it, moving up to his head and his brow. I'm loving his eyes. Again, looking back, Gojira, Motora, King Ghidorah, one-time shot. Almost exactly, look at the eyes there. Similar to that movie, the brow and his nose. Now, one thing I was looking at when I saw his nose the other day, just studying it, because I do a little bit of research beforehand, is that his nose almost looks human-like. Take a gander at it, and based on what we were talking about just here a while ago, with the idea that he may have, somebody got the idea that they wanted to become one of these kaijus and melded their DNA. We don't know. The guy was disappeared, one-time shot, no backstory. We're still waiting. There's been a lot of other critiques about the movie, saying, there were other scenes that were cut out, and wouldn't you be surprised? And I think I would. The conceptual art was that there was going to be a humanoid form of Gojira here, which is fun, because I've got some photos that I wouldn't mind sharing one day and saying, look at that. I think there's some truth to that theory. If you're looking again at his nose and his brow line right above there, again, it looks very humanoid. So if we continue to move down to his, again, there's a nice look at those pearlies. I love the pearly whites. I love that they're so pointy too. They're not going to hurt your children, but again, this is an adult collectible. be forewarned. If they drop it, it'll probably get a bit of damage, but it's still a very sturdy product. It is bendable here. Look at the mouth line. You can bend it here a little bit of. You can hear it cracking, but don't be tempted to break it or anything. Just be tempted to have fun and display and put them in your shortstop movies. Look at his neckline here, right underneath with the jaw. His neckline comes in perfect. Again, the stretched out sinew, the mutation. This right here, the joint coming up right here. It's almost like a breastplate coming up to his cute little arms. I love it. They're so weak looking, almost like a baby. In all actuality, the way he mutated as quickly as he did, he is probably still only so many months old, if that. Not even is. Oh, look at again here. It's almost like an exoskeleton, but again, I'm looking more at the sinew. All right, those muscles just stretched out as if he's still mutating even now underneath this, because it came out so accurate. We move back to the scales here on the back of his head. Very well done. Classic Godzilla is what I'm looking at here. Reminds me of the original 64 Godzilla. Let's get out of this super zoom mode here. I want to see it a little bit more from afar. Look at that. I mean, if you studied the movies, that almost looks like they've taken a piece of the 64 backside of his head on the cranium there, and oh, this is kind of interesting here. There's that almost looks like his eye, an eye, another brow, a mouth. You can see many things if you use your imagination, which is fun. Thinking why X-Plus does this and creates them for us. The scales are very fun to look at. Traditional Godzilla and on a Deforeal, meshed together, melded together just enough so that you can have fun and admire it. Nothing really out of this world as far as a scale detail, because they do look more crustaceous there, and it looks like the norm. Again, in the Deforeal style, maybe that was taken away, but then if you get back up to his tail now that's the exoskeleton you're looking at. That's the fun part you're wanting to see. Now this is original. This is, even for a Deforeal, his exoskeleton on that spine. Basically, that's his spine, just bulging out like a bulging disc on the entire thing there, because you're like, oh, I've got a pain in my back. Well, on Godzilla, he must have tons of little nodules of pain, because, oh boy. Now comes the fun part. I'm done like looking at the rest for now until we look at the legs. But oh my goodness, look at that. What do you see there? Can you see it? The accuracy and attention to detail, just like in the movie. You can see, excuse me, what appears to be little humanoids. Now, have you seen a lot of sci-fi? And if you've seen a lot of, let's see, actually, this is the time when I want to do the super zoom. Look at that. Impressive. It's almost scary of what your imagination is seeing and interpreting at this point, because leave it to Toho, there was nothing or no indication of what was going to happen next other than leaving us there frozen. Only this part didn't look so frozen, so if they wanted to create a sequel, it was already seemingly escaping from the frozen portion into a new mutation. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm looking at this and you can see even the accuracy that they put in this Deforeal gives me that ability to think that way. Look at that. There's something coming out, and look at the eye. There's an eyeball. There's more teeth mutating outward. So what was he going to be again? Pre-production photos. Background was that there was going to be a humanoid version of a Gojira that was going to walk around. I mean, look at the little beasties up top. One. There's another one there. There's two. Another piece and fragments of them trying to come out. 3 and 4 right here. The attention to detail that the artisans decided to incorporate when they didn't have to. Because again, this was all concept, right? Conceptual art. Why do it? But this is the best attention to detail I've seen yet. And there were others who tried and attempted to do so. I believe it was Bandai Spirits, if not another company that I can research for you. And they released a supersized version, almost as big as the SH Monster Arts. And I thought, oh, it's really nice, but the tail was screwed up. It had nothing. Now, maybe it was a pre-production, but they kept on advertising it as a frozen version of it. I'm like, no, the tail was totally incorrect. But this one, X-Plus got it right. And I'm telling you, that is most impressive, because it gives me hope that even though it was a one-time shot, maybe a comic book, maybe an extra story off of Godzilla's backside here, looking at his tail. The expanded universe is somewhat call it, something that is not quite canon, but in theory could happen. Now, as if you heard of the stories of Disney saying, here's the What If series, well, yes, create some animation 10 years down the line, maybe he'll come back, and the great impressive start to the movie would be, here we are, we're just starting out in Tokyo Square, and it's quiet, and slowly but surely they're looking at it and they hear the sound of something, and instead of seeing what was always in the past of his tail, they're going to notice that this isn't here anymore, it's cracked off. You'll see the past, but you'll see that in the future. That's just a piece of the exoskeleton cracked off and something has walked and wandered off, and we start a war against whatever beings that are trying to infiltrate and pretend that they are actually or were Godzilla. And the reality of it is they had nothing to do with Godzilla. It was just an exoskeleton. It was a ploy to lure us to think, oh, Godzilla is bad. And now, you know how the storyline goes for Toho in the long run. Godzilla looks like he's bad, ends up coming to beat up the real enemy, which there they are. And the real Godzilla will show up. Shin Godzilla, again, this is this was just a casing, and Godzilla comes to save the day. Hey Toho, did you hear that? Just throwing in a little bit of a fun theory there, Godzilla theory. Now look at that, more of the crustacean-like mutation here. Okay, and on his legs, on his quadriceps, on his knee, and his little toes. The only thing I have to do comment about the toes is that they're too accurate. Let's zoom in there. The accuracy on the toes is too accurate, too clean, too good for a Deforeal, and even too good for Shin Godzilla. Because Shin Godzilla, if you remember, quite deformed. Period. None of those claws or nails there were looking good. They were looking pretty shabby, and the fact that he's still mutating, he's still pretty out of shape, which again leads me to believe in theory that, and it's been done before by Toho, that aliens from another planet were scheming to be a Shin Godzilla. They got to the good old professor or the doctor who was on the boat, and there you have it. This is the result of somebody was up to no good. And yes, one time shot, but this didn't get out of control. Whatever it is, that still deserves a chance to become something. I mentioned in my review of the NECA, which had their atomic glow, atomic boom look to it, that the customizer, Carla Custom and Paint, was doing some very good artwork and doing some customs of stuff. Now, if you look, she has what is now the God armor on her side. You look on there, oh my goodness. Again, could it be something to allude? They're having fun with the extended expanded universe, and you never know. I'm telling you, lots of minds think alike. Toho, please listen. I'm so looking forward to the next film to seeing what's going to happen. I mean, Godzilla Earth, the anime, was also impressive. Many people weren't impressed with the King Ghidorah of that, and that's okay. But I'm telling you right now, at least there's expanded universe of originality versus, let's keep on spitting out Star Wars movies as if it was a cookie cutter. It's no fun anymore. Make something original. Get back into the old canon stories of way back. Now, here's something fun that I hadn't shown you with Shin Godzilla. Looky who's in the background. I never did do a review on this guy, unpacking the universe. Still unpacking the studio, that is. I came upon that I still had him in there, so I'll do a review on Mr. SH Figure Arts Gojira. But here's what I was talking about here. Look at his toes. Let me get the super zoom in there again. Look at the toes on the SH Figure Arts Shin Godzilla there. As a side-by-side comparison, you're looking at the imperfections, okay? Whereas on the Deforeal, very well done. When in reality they should be twisted and curve-like, and I think extra pieces of toenail up even in there for the evolution of what was going to be the shin of Gojira's, when in reality it was, think about it. Here's another one for you. Did you ever see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the original? What was the first thing he saw? He walked into himself. Turn. He's like, he saw himself for the first time, and what? Up until he blew his flame, his atomic breath right at the bugger and exposed him for what he was. Well, wouldn't it be fun if somehow Toho and would come up with something that says, turn, here we are revisiting history, and these two are going at it in the sense, but not so much anymore. It's more, let me turn it around again. these horrible beasties, these Gojira warriors that were again genetically manipulated to become and fight the humans because they have no weapon. Their weapon has gone bad. Its Godzilla has turned against them. What do they do? Let's cause a panic. And the aliens have started it, and the reality of it is the true Gojira, perhaps even an incredibly awesome, I don't want to say CG, by golly, if it could do practical effects for an incredibly awesome Godzilla Earth to appear from the grand size. Imagine to take on this puny, I don't know what warrior. But then even then, if there's too many of these bad boys, that'd be scary. I mean, it'd be like, if you look at his noggin on this one again, the X-Plus version shows much attention to detail in his Deforeal form. But I once saw a movie, I think it was The Mummy Part 2, and a bunch of, wee baddies that were looking very horrible. Oh, they're mean-looking little baby mummies. That's what he kind of reminds me of here. But again, this is much better. Because of course you're looking at Gojira and his mouth open, and I really do wish I had the original one of the Shin Godzilla to compare him with. I don't have it. It's way too much on the secondary market, and no thanks. Maybe Toho will re-release him. He's a cute little butter, almost look like a little hamburger with his face and his a bunch of meat looking pieces, and you can tell the mutation. And again, that's my theory, that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it because I believe that Toho has opportunity lingering within the background of giving us that opportunity for originality, innovation, just exactly what you're looking for in a new Gojira flick versus, let's recycle, let's cookie cut. No, Toho is known for, yes, they may have said this was a one shot, but all those theories are just throughout there, and that's just now, years later, thinking about it, even with Godzilla Earth, and looking at the future. What can we do? The American version, hey look, they're coming out with King Kong versus Godzilla. Nobody wants to see one of them die, even in the original one. To our knowledge, the best of the knowledge, he didn't die. He came in as a new version, but there's always a mutation, there's always an evolution. So don't think, look at this fantastic artisans. I highly recommend picking it up. There is, he does excellent stance. He'll compare well with your other Deforeals. So highly recommend picking him up. He's not that expensive. Really much more affordable than the giant-sized ones, which will soon be arriving. Just a heads up, I will have the rival in Tokyo of Melton Godzilla, and eventually his I'm trying to think, Shounen Ric exclusive. So they're all in transit. Enjoy what you have. Make the best of his. He is probably one of the better sculptures, again, as I have mentioned, because this right here makes it work. And if you look at the SH figure monster arts here, they also did the same. I would have to do a side-by-side comparison. Let's do the super zoom there again because I love playing with it. And that's what I appreciate, the attention to detail with them, not only on the Deforeal, but then of course with the monster arts version here, just showing you exactly the little baddies mutating from afar. And again, woohoo! I'll have to do a review on that one. I have to put him back there. He's nicely frozen right now. There he is. And there he is. Look at that. Just incredible attention to detail. Thoroughly impressed. 2 thumbs up. Looking back. If you want either one of them, pick them up. This one was just on sale, courtesy of Bluefin. They had wish I'd caught it even myself, but it's all right. Nobody needs more than one. Just the beauty to be able to enjoy at your leisure. Keep an eye out, more sales coming down the fall. Thank you very much, everybody. As always, comment, like, subscribe. This is Kurkix and the Mighty Stateverse wishing you a happy day. Getting ready for Halloween. Woohoo! Another cookie, guys. Review. Comment, like, subscribe.